afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us here at the U.S. Department of Commerce. We are really honored by your presence, and we're looking forward to a fun afternoon. My name is Jim Golson. I'm the Deputy Director General of the U.S. and Foreign Commercial Service, and welcome to the Department of Commerce. I would like to welcome all of you to the 2024 President's E Awards ceremony and the launch of a new era of the U.S. and Foreign Commercial Service. We're incredibly excited and energized about this afternoon's program, and thanks again for coming. The President's E Award was created by President Kennedy through an executive order in 1961 to encourage U.S. companies to sell their products abroad. A second award, the President's E-Star Award, was authorized by the Secretary of Commerce in 1969 to recognize former E-Award recipients for their continuing significant contributions to U.S. export expansion. The E and E-Star Awards are the highest honors available to U.S. exporters and export service providers. Before we continue, I have a few housekeeping notes. We will have ushers to assist you at each end of the aisle. I want to walk through some of the movements for our award winners as well. The easiest way to describe your path of motion to getting the award is that you will be making a loop onto the stage and then returning to your original seats. As soon as the Deputy Undersecretary completes her remarks, the first row and then one row at a time will rise and proceed in seating order to the steps on the left side of the stage next to me. I'll read your names, and then you will proceed across the stage to the tape marks on the floor, where you will look at our photographer, which will be placed immediately in front of you. Keep moving in the same direction, which will cause you to exit on the opposite side of the stage, and then please return to your original seat. If you are an award winner, please remove your name tag now. We don't want to include your name tag in the photo. Everyone in the auditorium, again, thank you so much for coming. Please do silence your cell phones, your mobiles, and please do not use flash photography. At this time, we request that you please stand for the presentation of colors by the U.S. Space Force Color Guard and the national anthem, sung by Staff Sergeant Hannah Davis.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And look at the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, see, does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free in the home of the brave?
Thank you. Please be seated. It's a real pleasure to be here today for the presentation of the President's E Awards. The 64 companies we recognize with awards achieved success through persistence, innovation, and plans to succeed. Each one of our winners has a story of how their hard work and dedication has brought them to where they are today. Most of these stories have something in common: an advanced understanding of world geography, which might include running through airports or train stations to make that one connection offered to get you off the far-flung destination on time. Many of you have learned new business customs, the correct way to present a business card, the importance of being precisely on time, or alternately on time may mean within a couple of hours or days of the time we agreed to start. And a nod may mean yes, but just as frequently may mean no. Exciting delicacies to sample at business dinners, followed by calls home after dinner to talk to the kids before school because your dinner is currently their breakfast time. Friends you never imagined you'd be making in places you might never have expected to see. International trade is truly an exciting journey. Congratulations to each and every one of you on your success. Your work supports not only your employees, but your communities, and keeps the United States economy strong. We encourage you to let your business communities know the impact that having more customers in more places around the world has on your bottom line. You may have started this journey as the only person from your town that had dreams of international trade, but by sharing your work, you raise awareness of the value of exporting and inspire the next generation to think globally. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce you to the Deputy Undersecretary of Commerce for International Trade, Diane Farrell. Deputy Undersecretary Farrell coordinates policy for the International Trade Administration. And prior to this role, she served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Asia, where she was the principal advisor to the Assistant Secretary for Global Markets on all matters concerning international economics, trade, investment, and commercial policy. Previously, the Deputy Undersecretary worked at the U.S.-India Business Council as Executive Vice President, and she has also served on the Board of Directors at the Export-Import Bank of the United States and was named a member of the White House Business Council. Before serving at XM, she was elected the first select woman or mayor in Westport, Connecticut, and she is the recipient of the 2022 Presidential Rank Award as a meritorious executive for her sustained accomplishments in federal career senior executive service. Please help me welcome Deputy Undersecretary Diane Farrell.
Jim's a little taller than me. Good afternoon. All right, I was with some of our most wonderful and special deck members yesterday, so you know my expectation is good afternoon is met with a lot of energy. And speaking of energy, I've done this before, some of you may remember. Please raise your right hand nice and high. Everybody. Beautiful. Now crooked, put it on your shoulder. Big pat on the back. Every one of you, you are the creme de la creme. You are the superstars. It is so exciting for those of us who work in this building, who work across the United States, who work overseas, to be here with you and to be celebrating these amazing accomplishments, because you guys you've cracked the code. And a lot of American businesses want to do what you're doing, but they've either been a little hesitant or they've tried and maybe it hasn't worked as well. And you have shown year over year that you really understand how it works. And Jim did a beautiful job of describing the dynamic, the atmospherics that we've all experienced as we talk about our commitments to international trade. So we're here to do the E and the E-Star Awards. As Jim said, these are the highest honors that we can confer. And we say thank you because, again, we have a mission, but the mission doesn't succeed unless we are really, literally working with all of you, the private sector. You drive us. As much as at times you may feel like governments drive you, you drive us, and that's really what keeps us going, keeps our engines revving. So whether it's profit, whether it's impact, whether it's economic growth, by every measure, you all have been extraordinarily successful. So from 2020 to 2024, the E Award winners being recognized today, this is an amazing number, have contributed more than $3.5 billion, with a B, dollars to the U.S. economy through your exports of goods and services. And here's the really cool part. You guys did it on a global scale. We know it's not easy. So for you to actually do this and master this, these markets is absolutely extraordinary, $3.5 billion. So we're lucky. If you didn't get the directions the first time, don't worry, you'll still get your award. We'll figure out the flow on how to come up to the stage, how to leave the stage, where to stand, who you're supposed to say thank you to, etc. Not to worry. Clearly, we have people here who have more than mastered their ability to navigate. We have, and this is really quite remarkable, 6 winners here who are about to receive their 3rd Presidential Award for exporting. They received the E Award and then the E Star Award and now a 2nd E Star Award. We're going to have to come up with, like, I don't know, an E Platinum Star Award, I guess, for the future. But it really is, you know, it's still a rare occurrence. And again, we're just amazed and impressed by your abilities to be such strong achievers. So we're going to start. I'm going to give you a couple of stories because Jim talked about broadly how it works for everybody. We want to share a few stories, these amazing success stories, for 6 companies specifically. First, Sun & Products Company from St. Louis, Missouri. Where are you guys? Okay, good. Okay. I know they don't look it, but this is a 100-year-old company. A small manufacturer of precision bore honing equipment. Their equipment contributes to final products used in, and this is quite a broad spectrum, brain surgery, landing gear on aircraft, and engine blocks. Absolutely amazing, and it leaves the imagination reeling. Sun was first recognized with the President's E Award in 1964, back when Lyndon Baines Johnson was President of the United States. In 1986, Sun received their first President's E Star Award, and they're back today for their 2nd E Star. Well-established exporters with businesses in 45 countries and a long history of exporting, they amazingly reported a 40% growth in exports over just the past 4 years. International Sales Director Tom Dustin is here to receive the award. Job well done. Tom, to you and your colleagues. We have 2 other companies in this same amazing rarefied atmosphere of now 2-time winners of E-Stars. They are Hydrothermal from Waukesha, Wisconsin. Hydrothermal, where are you going? And Ace Pump Corporation from Memphis, Tennessee. Ace, where are you guys? And this is remarkable. Both companies have doubled exports from their original E-Award applications. So congratulations to CEOs Jim Zeiser from Hydrothermal and Andy Randall from Ace Pump. Somewhere? Yep. All right. 2 distributors of American-made food items are back for their 2nd E-Star Awards. American Trading International, or ATI, from LA, California. All right. And Walton & Post from Miami, Florida. Walton & Post? Both of these exporters have doubled their exports since they were first here to receive their President's E Award. Seth Merrick Wilson, and CEO of ATI, which derives 100% of its revenue from exports. Seth Merrick Wilson, you here? There he is. Okay, round of applause, folks. All righty. And Jose Garrido III. Jose? Someone's here? There, way up in the, okay. Jose is in the nosebleed category, way up there. Jose, at some point you'll want to amble down just to make this important circle that we're going to do. And really cool thing, Jose is the 3rd Jose Garrido to lead Walton & Post, which derives an impressive 82% of revenues from exports. Jose, extremely well done, and what a marvelous family you must have. Congratulations. All right, you can give him another round of applause. Poor guys. Okay, and then our partners, we can't live without state and local partners. We are pleased to welcome back for their 3rd award, the New Jersey Office of Export Promotion. Come on, Jersey. The office was first recognized for their work to support New Jersey companies with international success with the E Award for Export Service in 1988. They were back again in 2017 for their first E-Star Award, and they're here today to collect their second E-Star. As further testament to the successful week of William Spear and his team accompanying the New Jersey Office of Export Promotion here today is one of their clients. The proof is really in the pudding when we've got their clients here. Intelligence Security Systems, or ISS. Where's ISS? All right. So after our fabulous reception following this program, I want to know whether you guys are off of the Jersey Turnpike or off of the Garden State. That'll give me a good sense of direction. ISS makes security products that are used in screening all over the world, maybe even at the airport or on the highway you just traveled to get here. So once again, congratulations, guys. Well done. At the Commerce Department, we're doing everything we can to promote American businesses and products globally, because we know that exporting world-class American products and services overseas isn't just essential for the U.S. economy, it's also vital for our economic competitiveness internationally. Many of the companies here today have worked with their local U.S. commercial staff offices across the country along the way and have been gracious to acknowledge the support they've received through Gold Key services, counseling, trade missions, and trade show assistance, to name just a few of the services our staff provide. Guys, you got to be recognized. Anybody here from the commercial service? We should have a lot of folks. Please be recognized, and let's give them a huge round of applause. And as evidenced by some of the award winners, we are part of a greater export ecosystem, which includes our state and local government partners, private sector companies that work to support export growth in their communities. Some of these providers of export services will be acknowledged today with the E and E-Star Award for Export Service, and I'd like to mention a few of them here. And this is, by the way, a friendly competition. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. Our friends from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership are back with us to pick up the E-Star Award this year. Congrats to Jason Elkubi and Lindsay Bertozzi and their 12-person strong delegation. Okay, go Virginia! VEDP promotes customized market research as the foundation for all their work, which includes trade missions, educational programs, and grants. In the past 4 years, they have supported 543 Virginia businesses. Okay, not to be outdone, and joining them for the E-Star Award this year is from neighboring Maryland. Do we have any Marylanders? We certainly have Ambassador Schwab. Our friends at the Center for Global Business at the Robert H. Smith School of Business from the University of Maryland. They have their own mighty delegation. They've got 16. It's okay, Virginia. We'll double count. Rebecca Bellinger, their executive director. Rebecca, are you here? All right, here she is. Okay, excellent. An exciting component of the work being done by the Center for Global Business is the involvement of students in working with business clients, which provides valuable research and market entry support for the company, and internship and training opportunities for those future international business leaders. Well done. And I think Ambassador Schwab will give a shout out to the University of Maryland. We'll hear more from the ambassador shortly. Another E-Star winner that provides valuable services to exporters is, and one of my great friends, National U.S. Arab Chamber of Commerce, led by David Hamad. David? There he is. The Chamber helps connect U.S. companies to the Arab world, and during the last 4 years, worked to increase access to opportunities through e-documentation services, trade missions, roundtables, and networking opportunities, including their annual Iftar dinner. David, congratulations. And these are just a sample of the many impactful examples of American exporters and export service providers whose leadership helps to keep our economy strong and expanding. This is important work. On behalf of President Biden, Secretary Raimondo, and the Commerce Department, and our entire administration, congratulations to all the recipients of the President's E and E-Star Awards. One more giant round of applause. And I think, over to Jim. Okay. Mr. Golson will be back to the podium in just a moment. All set?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go over there. Sure.
All right. Well, thank you, Diane. And let me just say, on behalf of all of the professionals of ITA, whether we're working at a U.S. Export Assistance Center, an overseas post, or right here in Washington, D.C., not only are we proud and happy for you, but you inspire us with your success. So thank you for everything you do to expand international trade. All right, we're going to do this. 64 people and companies will be recognized in 3 different categories. I see people are already lined up, and we're going to start with the President's E Award for Exports, which will be presented to 26 exporter recipients who have made significant contributions to the expansion of export trade for the United States over the previous 4 years. We'll begin with Acrodyne, represented by Skylar Hall and Doug Hall. And going forward, not to disadvantage anybody, but we're going to hold applause until the very end, so we'll get through the 64 names. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, we have Benamoon Company Incorporated, represented by Isaac Manowitz and Regina Manowitz. All right, next up we have Beyond International Incorporated, represented by Samuel Brooks and Andy Shu. All right, next up we have Simcor Incorporated, represented by Robert E. Johnson III. Next up, we have DFib Tech, LLC, represented by Joseph Mullally and AJ Pace. We'd now like to recognize Element 119, represented by Andrew Zipa and Mark Sullivan. Next, we have Explore Learning, LLC, represented by Suzanne Saraya. Yeah, if you're feeling it, let it out. It's the highest award possible. Next up, we have FleetSoft, represented by Kurt Klausner. Now I'd like to call High Point Aero Technologies, represented by Dirk Manley. Next up, we have Inert Products, LLC, represented by Stephen Mick and Dean Klippel. Now I'd like to call International Code Council, represented by Dominic Sims and Stuart Tom. Next, we have Lyra Cosmeceutical Incorporated, represented by Matasia Delikas and Francine Kakarakis. I tried, thank you. Next up, we have Lowe Medical, represented by Perry Lowe and Margarita Lowe. Now I'd like to call up Mill Agro Incorporated, represented by Aaron Edwards and Joshua Edwards. Next to the stage, we have Near Shore Networks, represented by Bob Miltenberger. All right, next we have Oscar Ware Incorporated, represented by Deborah A. Dudley. Next we have Pan American Zinc, represented by Dan Margenberg and Josephita Harry. I'd now like to invite Re-Security Incorporated, represented by Christian Lees and Richard M. Lake. Next up, we have Sable Systems International Incorporated, represented by Robin Turner. Next, we have Science6 Incorporated, represented by Raj Bandari and Lisa Bamford. Next up, we have Stellar Industries, represented by Tim Davison and Ruben Guida. I'd like to invite to the stage the Woodstock Academy, represented by A.V. Favreau. Next up, we have the University of Central Missouri, represented by Dr. Phil Hull and Emily DeMello. Our next awardee is Wildlife Acoustics Incorporated, represented by Ian Argonaut and Sharon Cam. Okay, our next award is the President's E-Award for Export Service, which will be presented to 10 recipients who have facilitated exports to make significant contributions to export expansion over the previous 4 years. First up for this award, as we switch them out on stage, is Atrofin LLC, represented by Clive Berlowitz. Next up, we have the Center for Global Business, Robert H. Smith School of Business, represented by Rebecca Bellinger and Prabhudev Kanan. Next up, we have Direct Online Marketing, represented by Jason Oshie. Next, we have Dorian Drake International, represented by Edward Dorian and Chris Canellis. All right, next up we have JZJ Insurance Services Incorporated, represented by Jeff Johnstone. right, next up we have New York City Tourism Plus Conventions, represented by Fred Dixon and Alexandra Silversmith. Next up we have R.L. Swearer Company Incorporated, represented by Charles W. Watson. Next to the stage, we have Regional Growth Partnership Incorporated, represented by Paul Zito and David Bowen. Next up, we have Regions Bank, represented by Carson Strickland and Thomas Mateus. Okay. Right now, okay. Okay. Next up, we have Taurus Trade Law, PLLC, represented by Olga Torres, and we also have Representative Crockett in attendance from the state of Texas. If we could ask the representative to join as well. Thank you, ma'am. All right, while they're finishing up, we're going to transition to the President's E-Star Award for Exporters, which will be presented to 12 exporter recipients to recognize 4 years of additional significant contributions to export expansion since receiving their original E-Awards. These are our repeats. We're really incredibly honored to have them here. First to the stage, we'd like to invite Ace Pump Corporation, represented by Andy Randall. Please note this is the second E-Star Award for Ace Pump Corporation. Congratulations. Next up, we would like to invite American Trading International Incorporated, represented by Seth Merrick Willen. Please note this is the second E-Star Award for ATI. Next up, we have Argus Fire Control Incorporated, represented by James Carbone and Robert Duncan. Next up, we have Equilibar, represented by David Reed and Julie Detmering. Next up, we have Horner Express Worldwide, represented by Linda Carroll. Next, we have Hydrothermal Corporation, represented by Henrietta Boigier. Please note that this is the second E-Star Award for hydrothermal. Next up, we have Intelligence Security Systems, ISS, represented by Aloisio Figueroa and Matt Powell. I'd now like to invite to the stage Miyamoto International Incorporated, represented by Maggie Brunette and Adriana Navarro Sertich. Next up, we have S3 Aero Defense LLC, represented by Sebastian Imbert and Jeff Wolnook. Next up, we have Sigma Recycling, represented by Kanika Patawari and Kuldip Lunia. Next up, we have Sunnen Products Company, represented by Tom Dustman. Please note this is the second E-Star Award for Sunnen Products Company. Next up, we have Walton & Post Incorporated, represented by Jose A. Garrido and Carlos Diaz. Please note this is the second E-Star Award for Walton & Post. Okay, our final awards today are the President's E-Star Award for Export Service, presented to 11 companies and organizations to recognize continued facilitation of significant contributions to export expansion for 4 years since receiving their original E award. Our first award nominee in this category, I'd like to welcome the American Association of Independent Music, represented by Lisa Ressock. We now like to welcome FedEx Corporation, represented by Gina Adams. Next up, we have IAPMO, represented by Christopher Lindsay. Next up, we have IBT Online, LLC, represented by Johnny Coons and Ava Mitzi Worthington. Next up, we have Intralink, represented by Alan Mockridge and Micah Hostetter. Now I'd like to invite the Massachusetts Export Center, represented by Paula Murphy and Kathleen Kinnan Newell. We'd now like to recognize the National U.S. Arab Chamber of Commerce, represented by David Hamoud. Next up, we have the Ohio Department of Development, represented by James Lapley and Courtney West. Next up, we have the Robinson and Cole, represented by Jeff White and Kevin Daly. Next up, we have the New Jersey Office of Export Promotion, represented by William Spare and Joe Forte. Please note this is the second E-Star Award for the New Jersey Office of Export Promotion. All right, next up we have the Virginia Economic Development Partnership Division of International Trade, represented by Jason Elkoubi and Lindsay Bertozzi. As we wrap up, a final note, awardees American Fuel Cell, Coated Fabrics, Loring Smart Roast, Transglobal LLC, Rough Land, Performance Kennels, Flexo Concepts were not able to join us in person today, but we want to acknowledge them all as well. In addition, we want to thank the congressional staff with us from Shivani Pampati, Senate Small Business Committee, the Center for Global Business, Robert H. Smith School of Business, to recognize their constituent. We'd also like to thank the congressional staff with us, Lucas Lamb from the Office of Representative Eric Swalwell, to recognize Lyra Cosmeceutical Incorporated. How about a round of applause for all of our award winners? So this does conclude the presentation of the 2024 President's E-Awards. Congratulations to you all. Congratulations once again to all of our E-Award recipients. I invite everyone to remain seated as we set up for the next portion of today's program, which will include a special video presentation, remarks from Secretary Raimondo, and a few special guest speakers. Thank you again. We'll begin in just one moment with a special video. Thank you so much.
Be careful.